Welcome to Pathway to Pleasure live on this Wednesday at 12:30 on the 13th of July. Wow, can't believe it's so late in this year. I want to open up our little space together with some sage just to cleanse you and me. And I'm going to use a new feather that I found in Colorado. So this is a Colorado goose. So, taking some sage. Bring you presents, clear off what no longer serves you. Kind of like what we're going to be talking about today. Using the sacred smoke for purification and cleansing. And presencing also. So I'm happy to be with you here today. I missed last week as I was helping my oldest daughter move up to Denver, Colorado. So we had a very fun road trip up there, and I got to fly back. So that was even better. So today I wanted to talk about rewriting your story. And why this is important is because when we're feeling stuck, but we want to have change in our life, then the antidote to that is to write a new story. Because I'm going to be giving examples today about how we tend to get stuck in a story. You know, if you can imagine when you were little and hearing fairy tales, over and over and over again, just kind of you knew it was going to happen. You knew the story. I mean, I remember my oldest, she was really young, and I remember picking up a book and she was reading, and she wasn't really reading. She was just reiterating the story that she has heard over and over again. So we tend to, as humans, just get attached to one way of being, one way of thinking. So I wanted to touch upon that a little bit today, very briefly in our time together. So on the way home from Denver, I was sitting on the plane with my youngest daughter, and a gentleman was sitting on the aisle seat. And I was window and my daughter was in the middle seat. And he, really sweet man, he started to talk to her mostly, but I was listening a little bit. And he just went on about, what he did for a living, and, how important his job is, and how it's hard to find any replacements because, it's very specific. And, he's turning 65 and he doesn't know if he's going to retire, doesn't know what he would actually do with himself if he did retire. And just going on with a story. And what really got my interest is, after he was kind of done talking with us and, we went down to reading our book and stuff, I heard him turn to another person on the other side of the aisle, and he was basically saying the same thing verbatim that he had told us, in like just the same outline, just the same order. And it really got me feeling into how identified we get to our stories. And what I wanted to just touch upon is like how important it is for us to notice the wording that we use when we describe ourselves, when we describe our life situation, when we describe even our emotional state. Are the words that we're using, are they self-appreciating? Do we feel lifted up after we speak those words out? Or are they self-deprecating, where we just kind of feel low energy and just not very, very good about ourselves? And, I go back to the man on the plane, and he was very identified with his job. You can tell that his worth was his job. And him saying that he could probably never retire and be happy is probably really very true for him right now, because he's identified that with his job, that this job describes him. And until he is able to rewrite a story for himself, possibly how wonderful, retirement might be, and all the fun he's going to have with his wife, and possibly with his grandchildren, and he's going to travel. Like, once he starts to do that, then yes, he might never ever retire, or he might get kicked out because he might get too old, and he might not enjoy that free time. So it's really important how the words that we use to describe ourselves, to tell our story. And in my work, I notice that men and women, we all use the same identification wording in our sexuality, meaning a lot of men and women might describe themselves as, having low libido, being non-orgasmic, non-sexual, not desiring sex, happy to be alone, happy to be single. And they begin to identify with these stories. And over time, the more we identify with something, this belief, it becomes our reality. We create this in our life. And as creatures of habit, humans get settled into this rut. I hear a lot of women saying, "Oh, it's okay that, I never had an orgasm, or I barely have one. It's okay. My body's just not meant to do that. I'm okay with that." Or, they're like, "Oh, I'm okay that there's not a lot of passion in my relationship with my partner, with my husband. It's okay. We've been married a long time. It's okay. We're just friends. I can do without. I can do without sex. I can do without. I'm okay." So they just tell themselves it's not important. They don't mind this. And then they start to fill in these gaps, with unhealthy behaviors. Whether maybe it's too much shopping, maybe it's too much eating, maybe too much indulgence in drink or drugs, or actually really, or too much sex, like just randomly, hookups, just unmeaningful sex. And these people just start to wonder, like, why they are never fulfilled. And the thing is that, I'm here to remind you that you are a sovereign being, right? You can create your reality. It's as easy and as difficult as you want to make it. If you identify with something that is not in your highest vibration, you will see these negative effects on your life. I mean, I see that in my own life all the time. When I feel low energy, when I'm noticing, being aware of, self-deprecating words I'm telling myself, I reflect. I reflect on the story, that I am believing right now. And I ask myself, is it true? And what else is true? I remember being at a retreat a few years ago, and I was going through a process, and I was talking with one of the facilitators, and I was really kind of stuck in my story. And she said, "What else is true?" And that was like a switch that went on. I'm like, wow, like I can choose to believe something else that is true for me. And the thing is I don't want to get too off topic here, but is giving yourself the permission to change your mind. Like, just because you make one choice doesn't mean you can't choose again, because we are changing all the time. If you don't need to get stuck in a certain decision, if you're feeling at this moment that this is not aligned with you. But on the flip side, what is needed to be clear, again, I don't want to get too off topic, is really to do the work to come back to what are your core values, and using that as a compass. So maybe that's something else we can talk about in another live down the road. So I want to keep this in a reasonable time to honor your time as well. So we all know about Eckhart Tolle and how he speaks about the pain body and how our mind likes to feed this body, right? Because it feels good. It feels good to feed this pain body sometimes, by, if you're complaining about someone to somebody else, and like, or your life, this complaint, like, and this other person, if they have lack of boundaries or what have you, they might just, push you on into this, they might like feed this, say, oh yeah, I can, you're totally right. And like this pain body's like, yes, you're feeding me, this feels so good. But then we get stuck in this loop and the pain body never lets us out of it. And I believe that this happens when we are disconnected from our bodies. So one of the core things that I use to get connected back to my body is the jade egg, the yoni egg. And that is why coming up in August, I will be leading a live online course for 4 weeks and teaching women how to practices using the yoni egg to release trauma, to release old past wounds, ancestral wounds, and to really come back into your body, into this beautiful sacred temple. So I'm excited about that coming in the future. So what I have learned in another way to change my story, or rewrite my story, I guess, is I've learned through my own personal experiences and personal deep dives is to take a meta view of my life. So the word meta means after or beyond. So when I view my life from a meta space, from beyond myself right here, so I'm a visual person, so I picture my whole being like coming up above like the whole world, my space, and be able to look down, like what's going on and what has gone on in the past. Like I can see everything, kind of like that, that life review you get when you transition, and you get to see everything all at once. So when I can see the whole picture of why things have happened, what is currently happening, I can use this to manifest, to create my future reality. I can start planting the seeds of what I want to start creating in my life, where I want to go, what I want to bring in. Like I can see clearer. Like it's almost like I'm taking some, glass cleaner and clearing off the grime off this, the glasses of my perception. So I get to choose how I'm going to respond, not react, how I'm going to respond and how I'm going to move forward. So I get into this state to get more of a meta view. I do use my body. Like I said, I'll use the yoni egg, because I believe that this physical body is just more than matter, right? It's what our soul is here in this vessel, and it's here for our healing and soul growth. This is how our soul grows, is through this physical matter of a body. And we're given, the Creator gave us 5 senses in this body. It's 5 senses for our soul to connect to remember where we came from. And when we stimulate these 5 senses, you get out of your mind and back into your body, so you can get a clearer state of awareness of your life. So, the 5 senses, hearing, seeing, tasting, smelling, touching. So bringing in those aspects, essential oils, very citrus oils really uplift your spirit. If you're feeling ungrounded, you want to do things like Douglas fir, If you're feeling like low energy, low libido, ylang-ylang is a stimulator for sexual arousal. So there's different ways, and taste, like tasting your favorite chocolate, or if you drink wine, or the best, what the succulent seasonal fruits out there. Like, there's so many ways for us to stimulate our five senses to get back into our bodies and be able, like I said, to get a clearer view of where we want to go in our life, in the situation that we're living in right now. And so that's how we get to rewrite the story that we've been telling ourselves. It's comes from a place of feeling what is in the highest vibration for me right now. So to recap some of the stuff that I've discussed, we want to make sure you're noticing the words that you're speaking to yourself. Make sure that they're high vibrational words. There are many cultures, many traditions where they don't speak a lot, because they only want to speak the words of the highest vibration possible in the situation. So those are the words that you want to connect to. The words, the more of love and expansiveness and beauty and radiance and vibrancy and gratitude and appreciation and sacredness. Like, grabbing onto those and putting those into your speech of what you talk to yourself and to other people with. And stop feeding the pain body, by getting more into your physical body, out of the head. The pain body lives in the head. The pain body lives with the ego. So we want to move out of the head. We want to move into your heart. We want to move down into your sexual organs and move that energy through you. That is a great way to change your story. And look at your life from a meta view, like getting out of your little cubicle here, your little box. Bring yourself up and look at your life. Look at what really is happening all around you. And give you more awareness to make the best choices for yourself. So I just want to recap this again. Is if this video has been enjoyable to you, please let me know. If you want to share it with anybody, I'll be putting this on my YouTube channel as well. And I will be posting on how to sign up for the 4-week live online yoni egg practice coming in August. And yeah, I just want to wish you all just a beautiful day. Thank you for taking the time to be with me here today. And next week, what I'm feeling, and of course I can always make a different choice, but what I'm feeling right now is I want to touch upon yin, yang, feminine, masculine energy. So that is coming up for me quite intensely right now. So that is most likely going to be the subject for next Wednesday. So thank you so much. So many blessings to all of you today. Much love.